All right, let's continue our discussion of ellipses and, of course, addressing the Common Core standards for conic shapes, graphing, and using algebra to define them in different forms. So, in this case, we have our general form of every conic. Same thing we've been starting with, but now we look down here at this example number 3, and say, okay, well, what is it? Well, first of all, I have a squared and a squared. So it's either an ellipse, a circle, or a hyperbola. It's a plus, so it's either circle or ellipse. But because the coefficient of x squared and y squared are different, that means we're dealing with an ellipse because they're not going to be even when we put it all together. To figure out what the standard form of the ellipse is, we're going to have to complete the square just like we did for the circle. So we're going to get all the x terms together, all the y terms together, and we're going to move any extraneous terms to the other side. Now, this one I can complete the square easily. Half of 4 is 2. Square it, you get 4, so I add 4 to both sides to keep it balanced. Here I'm going to have a little bit more trouble because I have 2y squared. So I'm going to need to factor out a 2. Now I can complete the square because y squared has a coefficient of 1. If I do that, I break down the 4, cut it in half, I get 2. 2 squared is 4. 4 times 2 is 8. Because I didn't really put a 4 in on this side, I put 4 times 2, which is 8. So I have to add 8 to the other side. In this case, break it down, you get x plus 2 squared plus 2 times y plus 2 squared, because if I factor this, you're going to get y plus 2, and you get this equals, you're going to get 24. Now, if I take this 24, we're really close to standard form, divide everything by 24, I now get x plus 2, the quantity squared, over the square root of 24 squared, plus now 2 and 24 reduce to make 12, y plus 2, the quantity squared, all over square root of 12 squared equals 1. So, we have a clear center at negative 2, because it's x plus 2, comma, negative 2, y plus 2. We have an a value of whatever the square root of 24 is. Now, square root of 24 is approximately 4 point something something. Let's grab our calculator. We say on second square root 24, and we get approximately 4.9. We get b, which is the square root of 12. Well, square root of 12 is going to be approximately 3 point something something. So second square root 1, 2, second square root of 12, we get 3.5-ish. So, again, leave them in terms of square roots, not decimals. But so that when we graph it, we at least have an estimate, we went ahead and grabbed some decimals. With this, we have back 1, 2, down 1, 2. Go which direction? Well, the 4.9 is under the x, so I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, back a little bit. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, back a little bit. Up 1, 2, 3 and a half. 1, 2, 3 and a half. And when I draw my circle, or ellipse, excuse me, poorly, by the way, it does end up being wider than it is tall because the bigger number is under the x. So that is taking an ellipse from any form to our standard form and graphing using completing the square. So your homework for this section would be 2x squared plus y squared plus 12x plus 4y minus 16 equals 0. So, from there, find center, find A, find B, and find a graph.